Alcatraz, get those monarchs out, Grandpa Smedry said, pointing toward the wall. Folsom, if you'd help me. And with that, Grandpa Smedry began to sing. I stared at him, dumbfounded, until I realized this gave Folsom the music he needed to dance. Both Folsom and Himalaya spun toward the librarians, knocking down those who had tried to push around the outsides of the room. I turned and dashed up a section of bleacher-like seats. "Monarchs, up here," I said. The seats here were empty, their occupants all trying to crowd out the other door. Several of the monarchs turned toward me as I reached the far wall. I placed 2 hands against it and blasted it with breaking power. The entire wall fell away as if it had been shoved by the hand of a giant. Monarchs rushed up the steps, wearing a variety of costumes and crowns. A man with dark skin and red African-style clothing, the Mokian king in his islander wrap, a king and queen in standard crowns and European robes. I counted them off, but didn't see Bastille's father. That was, apparently, because he was still down below. I could see that he was trying to pull Drowlin to safety. Unfortunately, she weighed like a bazillion pounds with all that armor on, not to mention the awkward sword strapped to her back. The king must have come to the same conclusion as he pulled free her sword and tossed it aside, then began to work off the armor. I moved to go help, but the crowds had seen my new exit and were swarming around me. I had to fight against them, and it really slowed me down. "Grandpa!" I yelled, pointing. Below, my grandfather turned toward the king, then cursed. Folsom and Himalaya were holding off the librarians pretty well, so Grandpa Smedry rushed over to help the High King. I tried to do likewise, but it was slow going with the crowd in my way. Fortunately, it looked like I wouldn't be needed. People escaped out of the broken hole in the wall. Folsom and Himalaya handled the librarians. My grandfather helped the High King pick up Drowlin. Everything seemed good. Swickbin continued to knit quietly. Questions. They still itched at me. How exactly, I wondered, did the librarians get to the Kristin Mind Stone? That thing must be freakishly well guarded. Why was Swickbin acting so content? Who had blown up the Hawkwind? It had to have been someone who would have been able to get detonator's glass into Drowlin's pack.